I'm about to embark on the hardest job I've done. The Skyline is getting a new clutch. So we have a pressure plate, clutch disc, throwout bearing, this other little bearing, an alignment tool, new light and flywheel, and some pressure plate bolts. We've also got a new boot for the top of the gearbox as the old one has cracked and left a mess under there. This plug that's the wrong size anyway, new shifter cup, clutch slave cylinder, gktech shifter bush, a gktech clutch line, and this gktech shifter return spring. The same as all other jobs start, everything gets soaked in penetrant, and I like to make a habit of putting nuts and bolts back to where they belong to avoid losing them. As the elbow taking up the frame implies, these shaft bolts were not fun, and a little bit awkward to try and undo. With the shaft out of the way, we can crack all the gearbox bolts, frequently having to use the foot technique as someone torqued these bolts to spec, yes. Here's our fun little contraption to get the top starter motor bolts out. Back under the car, more things are getting removed. I feel like it was only last week I put this shaft back in after the rear end rebuild. The sometimes working speedo cable gets disconnected, and then almost forget we need to dismantle stuff from inside the car. This metal piece is pretty rusty, it'll get a grind and spray treatment. The dust boot actually looks like it's pretty new, so that one will get reused. And I'd recommend taking the shifter out while it's in here, you'll soon see why. Under the car again, we can disconnect the Otis switch and try not to make a mess of it. Also, remember to drain your gearbox oil, because guess who didn't and got dripped on later.
So this is the contraption that we need to use to actually get to the bolt.
Don't forget to disconnect the rest of your wires before letting this boat anchor out. Just remove that shifter, it'll make your life easier. With a lot of fondling, the gearbox slowly separates from the engine, and I start to realize just how heavy this thing is, and decided to chuck a wood plank under the spare tyre, just to give it something to fall onto.
Woo!
And again, just take the damn gear stick out. But here is our unit, a mess, but we'll come back to that after we've done the clutch. The clutch still had a little bit of life left, but we're already here and going to make it worth it. A little piece of cardboard bolted to the engine means I can trace a brace for the flywheel, and make one out of metal, as you need something or someone to stop the crank from spinning to undo the flywheel bolts. But my way here bolts up and locks the teeth of the flywheel, allowing me to crack everything loose to drop the flywheel. Followed by this dust cover of some sort. Remember to put it back on before putting your new clutch in, because someone forgot to do that and realized as they were lining up the gearbox. Our new flywheel comes in at 7.9 kilos, while the old one is 9.5, giving us 1.6 kilo in rotational mass taken away from the engine.
So now what we need to do, there's this little sort of bearing thing in here. We need to get that out so we can put our new one in. So we're going to go with the bread trick. Shove bread in there, keep shoving it in there, smack it in, hopefully that'll start to slowly pop out.
I found a socket and extension that just fits inside that bearing sleeve. So when you force bread in there, it starts to slowly push that sleeve out, but you need to keep filling it with bread to take up that space. And there we go, old bearing out. And now we clean out all the bread. I don't recommend removing the seal this way, but it worked for me. I also don't recommend installing the new seal this way. I also don't have anything else to do it with, so very light taps all the way around. To keep it even was all I could do and hope it doesn't leak again.
So I've taped up the shifter hole here just so that when we're spraying water underneath it's not getting all into my cabin.
The undercarriage of this thing is covered in grime, a lot from that split boot from the top of the gearbox. so it's all getting drowned in degreaser, and I'd recommend wearing a mask and eye protection than giving it a hit with the pressure gun. This was filmed pre-pressure gun upgrades, and one of the reasons why I upgraded to get one of these smaller guns, because this big wand made it quite hard to maneuver under here. Now that is way better, and will make it easier to spot any leaks should they come in the future.
I've just had the bearing in the freezer for a little bit, just to try and cool it down so it slips in a little bit nicer. I do have a socket that fits it pretty much perfectly, so we're going to use that to try and knock it in.
The new bearing can get tapped in and start to reassemble everything. And remember that cover plate? Yep, we didn't. With the flywheel torqued down, the clutch and alignment tool can go in. Make sure the clutch is facing the correct way. This does need to go on at the correct orientation to the flywheel, otherwise she won't sit. But once it's on, the plate can get torqued down as well. So a little backstory. I had an issue with this fuel plug being stripped out in a big service video I did previously, and even with it out of the car, it's still up for a fight.
This bolt's gonna snap.
I can feel it.
Yeah. She's gonna break.
I'm getting it out so slowly on the lip where the weld pool is formed, and it's very, very slowly making the round.
So this was the first plug that I tried, which was the correct size, but the wrong thread pitch, and everywhere only sold it in that thread pitch. So it was back to the drawing board for this one. And here's that broken boot I was talking about. Oil comes up and makes a mess underneath the car. So after removing a few C-clips, this whole assembly can lift out, ready for some fresh parts to go in. Don't forget, lift with your neck, not your legs. The clutch fork and release bearing get taken out, followed up with more waterboarding but with degreaser. With the bearing unit sat on a socket, the bearing itself can be hit off to make room for the new one. Make sure you support the new bearing on the outer lip, otherwise you may cause damage to it. A few little love taps and a very unstable camera shot later, everything's ready to go back in. I'm going to chuck a little bit of grease on any metal to metal parts, including inside the shaft. We can continue greasing up any contact points on the clutch fork and springs before installing it with another awesome shot of the elbow. The box looks way cleaner than it did before, and now we can chuck on our new gktech shift return spring. The cap box will get replaced with some brand new gktech ones, and the kit comes with 3 spring options that you can also stack together to fine tune your taste. I just decided to go with the pair of their stiffest options, and here's me trying to compress it compared to the stock springs. A little bit of thread tape, and this is good to get tightened down, then repeat on the other side. Before we start to get to the real fun part of where this job started to break me, physically and mentally.
That's never gonna happen, is it? Straight on the f***ing hand. Oh, I'm getting leaked on again. Oh, I need that plate in first. Oh, needs to go on first before we put the flywheel on.
So sometime later, we're back to where we are. Let's continue the struggle montage.
wood plank to help stabilize it this way. We can stop the roll, sort of, kind of, maybe. I chucked a post up online just to see how other people have done this. The engine mount's undone just from underneath, and then another jack at the front of the engine to tilt the engine back down. A lot of people have said that the starter motor mount, you're gonna rotate this down, slide it on, and then once the shaft is in, then once it's on there, you can start to twist it. That becomes a bit of a balancing game, even more so on a single jack stand.
You need that twist in the gearbox because this hump for the starter motor hits the body. So when you twist it down, the gearbox spline can line up. And it makes room, once it's in, to spin the gearbox back up.
I need to get this clutch fork pointed down, but that becomes quite hard if... me. Oh, I forgot to drain my trans fluid. God damn it, now it's leaking. Looking like it's the closest we've been. Oh! Ah, it's right on the f***ing thigh. Ah, that sucked. We've got a new tactic. We've got a strap here. We're going to tighten this as this lifts up just so it keeps a bit of support. And we're going to try and guide our shaft through this little hole here if I can keep it lit up well enough. Oh, that's what we're looking for. We've actually done it. It is on there, the splines are on. We just have to tilt this, twist this a little bit, get a couple bolts in. One of the hardest, most annoying things I've had to try and do. Don't you dare come off. So this is going to be a bit of a fun one to try and fiddle with. It's the breather for those vents on the gearbox. So I need to try and one hand hold the bolt through there and then get that up into that top mount way up in there somewhere.
It has been an absolute nightmare trying to find a fill plug for the transfer case because I went to Just Jap, did a 3-hour round trip, and this fits the drain plug. And there's no point me going all that way to return this. So we've got a brand new drain plug, didn't need one, but we've got one. I went around to Burson's, Super Cheap, Autobarn, Repco, some other race shop, automotive shop, nothing. I went to a gearbox repair shop And for $10, which is more than I bought this brand new plug for, I got this plug. I will clean this plug up and then we can start chucking stuff back in. This is the setup we used to have. It went from our master cylinder, came down, our slave cylinder sits there, but it would come down, loop around, go into this clutch damper, do this big loop up the back of the car, come back through, and then to our slave cylinder. What's going to happen now is this just goes straight from the master cylinder down into the slave cylinder, so we cut out all this excess that hangs underneath the car. This is the fluid that came out of the old line. I've never seen a more rank fluid come out of a car. I wanted to chuck a little bit of grease on this little pivot point for our new slave cylinder, just to try and minimize any metal to metal wear. Run it behind the speedo cable. Because the master cylinder was completely drained out, I needed to do a makeshift in-car primer with some old clutch line to prime the master with the help of my sister before connecting the new line and proceeding with a normal clutch bleed. And press it down again. Let it up. Press it down. On to the final stages now, and we just need to get our shifter in. The rubber and old plastic bush gets pulled off and a good amount of grease reapplied to press the new gktech bush on. And a final recoat of grease before we chuck everything back in. The new shifter cup can go in, more grease applied again, and the process of fiddling with your knob to get your bush in line with the hole. All I can say is be patient. It won't need any force, it just needs to be lined up perfectly and it'll drop straight in. Oh, we're in. We are in. Then you just need to install your retainer clips, snap rings, followed by our new boot that can now get zip tied in place once it's on. If your boot flange isn't as brown as the desert, you can chuck it straight back in with your dust boot. If it's like mine, a grind and paint to make sure it lasts a little bit longer, and then the final trim can go back in place. After a quick start and confirming the gearbox and clutch are all sweet, that's when I discovered that I have a seized front caliper. So it's not off the jack stands yet,